got so orange.
What's that?
So we're supposed to be on the
Oh, yeah.
Kitchen.
kitchen duty.
Welcome to the Orange Couch.
Orange.
The
Lloyd, we're live.
Okay, so I get the topic. It's back to me.
Yeah, back to you.
Okay. Encouraging panic and spontaneity.
If you see my eyes go wide open, then you'll know. Holy shit, he's talking about something. Are they?
What is that? We're on in 3, 2.
Well, all I know is I was watching American Bandstand one time and they had the Rate a Record thing. Remember
Oh,
that?
I remember that.
Smash or trash sort of thing.
Right.
Hey guys, we're on.
Hey, all right. Welcome to the Orange Couch. They just, sneaked into our spontaneity. I'm Webb Wilder. This is the Orange Couch, and this is my guest, Bill Lloyd.
Howdy, folks.
Let's see the studio.
Let's go look at that.
We're here at Audio Productions, which is a fabulous installation here at Nashville,
yes.
run by wonderful people. Studio A beckons. Step in. Bill, John, Bill.
Hi, John. Hey, Bill, how's it going? How are you? This is where it happens.
This is it, man.
This is their second home. I was
Yeah.
sort of a little more familiar with the old location, and y'all have been here about, what, a year or two?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. So you're at the helm of the sound tonight, right?
I am.
For those people out there in cyberland.
Absolutely.
Well, you got enough faders to do a good job.
Just reverb on everything. Just kidding. Kidding. It's a
Okay,
joke.
let's go sit on the orange couch.
The orange couch beckons. Coming this way.
And as you can see, the couches are orange, although we do have a red chair.
All right, here we are on the orange couch.
Test, test, test. John, have you got me?
John, hello.
Well, as I said, everyone, my guest today is my old friend and electrifying artist, singer, songwriter, guitarist, commentator, and so much more, Bill Lloyd. How you doing?
Hi, Webb. Good to see you.
You too, always. And people have been asking, and we deliberately didn't talk about this before the show because I wanted to see if we had varying memories, how we first got to know each other. My memory is,
Okay.
I'm from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. You're from Bowling Green, Kentucky.
That's
that
true.
we sort of became permanent residents of Nashville about the same time in about 1982.
That's
And
correct.
that Tim Kreckle and the Sluggers got us together.
That's right, Tim. We met. I was talking to Tim at the old Cantrell's, which was a club here in town, and now at a Mexican restaurant. I think
Oh, yeah.
it smells a lot better now.
Yeah, it was
But
rough.
I remember Tim saying, "You need to meet these guys," and it was you and R.S. Field. Mm-hmm. And we sat out in my car,
Listen to cassettes.
listened to cassettes of our bids for stardom, and
You show me yours, I'll show you mine.
yeah, exactly,
kind of thing,
yeah, exactly. But I remember playing you guys stuff, and you guys were intrigued by what I was doing.
Sure.
I loved what you guys were doing too. So
And one of your early recordings that you made available to the public was called Feeling the Elephant.
that was the first solo record I ever did.
And I just met the guy that recorded it. He was our sound man the other night in Bowling Green.
That's
Mark.
right, Mark Owens, a great guy.
Wow.
Mark, are you watching tonight?
And since that time, of course, you've had all sorts of success as a solo artist and as one half of the country hit-making duo Foster and Lloyd. And then you guys had the reunion just a couple of years ago and did the It's Already Tomorrow album.
Yeah, that was a good one. We had I've been going out playing some shows with Cheap Trick as a second guitar player.
I was going to bring that up, too.
when they do Sgt. Pepper with orchestra, and I made friends with Tom Peterson from that band years ago, and so we got Tom to play bass on the record, and Keith Brogdon played drums, and so it was kind of a new, different thing for us. But
great.
we hadn't worked together in 20 years, so that was fun to dip into the writing thing again,
And did a bunch of dates.
and did a bunch of dates, played around for about a year, and then put it on the shelf again.
And then meanwhile, of course, you do your band, The Long Players, which is a lark, really, but it's turned into kind of a cottage industry because it's so well received.
Well, it's a fun thing to do. We what we do is we play classic albums from start to finish, and we do them in the order as the record was, as people remember
With
the
guest
songs.
vocalists.
With guest vocalists, and we are the band, and that's almost 10 years now.
And I've been fortunate enough to do it a few times, and it is a lot of fun. And you have a new appreciation for how great these various albums were, and of course you have a lot of fun just hanging with the guys. But we'll talk about some of this some more. We want you to do a song, and you have so much to draw on from all your solo efforts and the Foster and Lloyd stuff and songs you've written that other people have done. But the choice is yours. What do you want to do?
Well, let me think here. I think I want to do a song from there was a record I did years ago called Set to Pop. And that record will be 20 years old next year.
Wow.
But it was it was the first solo record I did after the Foster and Lloyd duo thing. And here's a song I wrote with Cindy Bullens called In a Perfect World.
Great.
And next year I'm going to put out a little companion disc to go along with that called a Set to Pop Companion, kind of try to remarket that record again in a way. So we'll see. This is the beginning of my promotion right now for that. In a perfect world, you never hear a heartbreak. You get it right the first time round. You never need a second take. And in a perfect world, you give yourself without a doubt. When trouble comes, you find a way to work it out. No, I still don't understand it, why love has to be so cruel. 'Cause in a perfect world, I'd still have you. Now in a perfect world, every shoe's a perfect fit. Eventually you find your spot and stand in it. And when love comes down like the summer rain, in a perfect world it washes all the hurt away. No, I still don't understand it, why love has to be so cruel. 'Cause in a perfect world, I'd still have you. Well, I guess I'm a fool believing for so long. 'Cause if there's no such thing, then I'll just make my own perfect world. No, I still don't understand it, why love has to be so cruel. 'Cause in a perfect world, in a perfect world, in a perfect world, I'd still have you. In a perfect world.
Cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cindy Bullens, huh?
Cindy Bullens and I wrote that, yeah. She's a great songwriter. And she actually cut a couple of our songs, again, the songs we'd written together on her last album, and that was one of them. So,
I'd venture to say you have more friends, both personal and professional, than almost anybody I know, because you're known to be someone that people love. I mean, people love collaborating with you, and you love people, and you have so many things to promote. If there's anything you want to promote because of these various collaborations and your solo efforts, feel free to plug it.
Thanks. I just I guess my records. I'm very proud of those. You can find those at BillLloydMusic.net, not .com. BillLloydMusic.net, and then I'm playing tomorrow night, here in town at the in Nashville at the Family Wash with my band, and and I do the lawn players thing I do, and then I go off and play as a sideman with other people. And
Well, the Cheap Trick thing was so cool because who would have ever dreamed that anybody get to play with them? They're such a self-contained band. And then they started doing this Sgt. Pepper's thing, and you did some of those, and a little time passed, and we thought, well, maybe that's all. And then you did it again recently.
Just a few weeks ago.
That's great.
And right now, this week here in Nashville, I'm riding with Robin Zander's son.
That's killer.
Who's also named Robin, and he's 20 now. I think I met him when he was 14, and we've been riding all week. So
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's kind of nice. You know, he's good kid too.
It
He's
seems
really
like
talented.
this year, but technically, I guess it was in the latter part of last year, you did a new solo album, Boy King of Tokyo, and its title is based somewhat on
Based
truth,
on
right?
truth, yeah. My parents were both in the Army when I was born, and got stationed, moved. They were in Fort Hood, Texas, where I was born, and shortly after I was born, we all moved to Tokyo.
Unbelievable.
And so the first 3 or 4 years of my life were in Tokyo, and I have all these photograph albums, and they show me with a variety of Japanese people who I think I remember a few names, and that's about it. And my parents at all these parties and stuff. So I think I think I was just sort of I remember speaking Japanese before I spoke English.
You do. You have memories of that.
Yeah, I remember picking up the phone saying "Chotamate kudasai," which means "wait a minute, please." And but that I think I was back in the States by the time I was about 4 or so. But
Wow.
But I've got all these photographs, and that's what spurred the writing of of that song. And then
The video. There's a video for the title track, and our old buddy Steve Boyle directed it, and it won all sorts of awards.
it's got
right?
like 5 or 6 big awards. I mean, well, big awards. I don't know if they're big awards, but they're good. They're like I can't
They have logos and
They
stuff.
have logos and stuff. Steve, I'm sorry if you're watching this. I can't remember all the names of them, but
Hi,
they're,
Steve.
it's a great little video. I just gave him like some photos to work with and said, here, have fun with it, and he did all this animation, and it was really, really fun.
Steve's brilliant, and of course, among the various things he's done, he did the Foster and Lloyd, Texas in 1880 video, which I love because I love old Western stuff, and it's full of all this old rodeo sort of
He
footage.
did several Foster and Lloyd things. He did What Do You Want From Me This Time, and there's more than that. Fat Lady Sings. That was another one. Kind of a hippie magical mystery tour,
Right.
meets country kind of thing.
I want you to do another song, but I've got to share this. ABBA came back with a vengeance a few years ago with the Mamma Mia thing and all that. But you and I and RS, who you mentioned earlier, had a stillborn, predated experiment with ABBA. As you may recall, we had a band that never performed live, that we were going to do SOS, right? And I still wanted to do that because I was going to get to really focus on the guitar playing while you sang.
Yeah.
And so that was one of my great frustrations.
That was the pre Beatniks.
That's right.
I think we were doing both Feeling the Elephant and One Taste of the Bait. If I remember learning both those songs. I have
No bass player.
no. Well, we had a guy who kind of came and went.
Right.
Yeah. So I have a cassette tape. If I could only digitize that thing, we both.
That technology's got to be available.
I think it's probably available in the studio, right here in the studio. So maybe you mentioned Boy King of Tokyo. Can I do a song from that?
Well, I didn't want to insist, but that's kind of
Yeah.
where I was going, yeah.
Well, I have a song about my love of vinyl records. I grew up buying records and loving all that, and working in record stores for many years too. And so this is kind of an ode to the records that inspired us to do what we do. It kind of starts off, if you could get everybody at home to sing along, it goes, na 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 na. Got that? Na 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 na. I think I hear you. Na na na. The best record ever made me jump right out of my chair, swing my arms around like a maniac, play the guitar, grow my hair. The best record ever made me want to turn up to 10. Then I'd play it over and over and over again. I never wanted to. Na 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 na. You sound good. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na na na. The best record ever made. Made me feel like life was a breeze. The world might get cold, but you were climate controlled in a song set at 68 degrees. 68 or 69. Those years were just a moment in time. But I can snap back in a flash to a feeling sublime. When you start singing, na 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 na, na na na, and when the needle starts making its way back to the middle, and I'm lying there in my bed, if I still hear that song in my head, even after the fade. It was the best record ever made. The best record ever made. Made me feel that life was a song. And it might be fun if I could only write one of my own. So everybody on the internet could sing along. 1, 2, 1, 2, let's go. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na na na.
That so captures what I know you have in your heart and I have in mine, which is just this incurable, indelible love of rock and roll and pop culture. And,
Yeah,
and
it was for a lot of kids. It was like second family.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
It's like one of the Beatles dying can hurt you just as bad as anything else, you know.
Well, or reading an
You know,
interview, you can feel like you caught up with a family member or something.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then nowadays we've gone so far that we've begun to, there's so much information and everybody's written their tell-all memoir and everything that we've demystified our heroes to the point that the personalities we created around them in our mind don't necessarily always fit, and I kind of feel a little weirded out by that.
Yeah.
But
I see what you mean.
But growing up in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, where it's almost never cold, I'd look at those album covers and those guys would be dressed so cool. I remember turning the air conditioner colder, putting on the records, and maybe putting on a jacket so I could and just totally have that rock and roll fantasy.
Well, what I think is funny is that it sort of showed a generation of kids that you could do something fun, and you can kind of do it for a living.
And it could mean something, because
Yeah.
if it meant that much to you, and you could hold a candle to it, whatever you did that held a candle to it could mean something to someone else.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons the Lawn Players is so, we've been doing it almost 10 years.
And doing it here in Nashville, the talent pool.
The talent pool
Wow.
is long and strong, and in other cities it's sort of hard to get around. Mm-hmm. I don't know of any other city that could support like a Lawn Players as well as this city does.
Well, for instance, there's this great band of great Nashville players,
Yeah.
and then you bring in the great guest vocalists. Yeah. But in Nashville, you might rotate the bass player 3 times in one night and have, the bass player from Cheap Trick, the bass player from the E Street Band, and whoever else, Brad Jones, who is great,
Yeah.
And then you have Mickey Raphael on harp. When we did Let It Bleed,
Yeah.
we did Let It Bleed by the Stones, and I was fortunate enough to be included and sing some of the songs, and the joint was packed on top of all that.
It was great, and Bobby Keys has sat in with us too.
Sure.
I mean, they're doing Rolling Stones records, and Al Cooper's come in to sing. I mean, not sing, but to play Bob Dylan records with us. So that's been
Jim Horn when we did the Wilburys thing.
Yeah. So it's a fun trip. So anyway, yeah. So best record ever made. That was an ode to all that.
Wow. You know, Nashville's come a long way, and when I hear myself saying that, I almost want to withdraw the statement because it always was a long way. You know, it's like very stylish now for people to go, oh, Nashville's hip. You know, the white stripes and the black keys moved here. Well, they're super cool, but they were big time before they came here, and we're glad to have them here. Yeah. But, you know, Bob Dylan recorded Nashville Skyline here. Yeah. Joe Tex's career was launched out of here. Country music used to be good.
Neil,
you know.
I'm not saying anything. Neil Young, you recorded Harvest here.
Wow.
You know, I mean, and there's been a lot of great records.
Muscle Shoals is right down the road.
Yeah.
And that's a story unto itself. And go see the film.
Oh, the film's awesome. And then, you know, Memphis is not that far away. Elvis split his time between here and Memphis a lot. So, I mean, a lot of, you know, if you just go to Studio B here in Nashville, that's the place where the Everly Brothers recorded, where Roy Orbison recorded, Elvis, you know.
Well, it's in the South, and so much of the music we love came from the South. But like I'm from Mississippi, so many people are from there. Guess what? They all had to leave to record or to do their gigs or whatever. Right. And, you know, people nowadays, they'll say, well, the greatest musicians in the world are in Nashville. And I used to think that was just kind of them to say but it's basically true.
Yeah, if there isn't one guy who can do it just perfect for you, there's another guy who will.
Yeah.
You know. It's one thing I love talking with you tonight about is just the fact that we both have such a real love of the music history and in this town.
We're ate up with it.
We're ate up with being in this town for so long. For several years, I got to be the string instrument curator at the Hall of Fame, Country Music Hall of Fame, and that was a first real job I'd had in many years.
I envied that job.
Well, I don't.
I'm such a nerd.
You would have been great. You would have been perfect for the job too. I mean, it's just. Well, I think you would have been even almost more perfect for it in some ways. But
you evolved into another. You were more perfect for it job because of that down there.
Well, yeah, I ended up hosting a program called Nashville Cats, where I interview the session guys and stuff.
Yeah,
and that's been.
You do an unbelievable job, and it's an unbelievable bunch of cats.
Well, yeah, and it's been fun. So one of the things. That was so fortunate was a bunch of Chet Atkins guitars were like 10 feet behind my desk, and whenever I would get slightly, you know, if I'd been staring at the computer for too long, working on something too intensely, I could just really roll my chair back about 10 feet and pull out one of Chet's guitars and play on it for a minute. And, you know, whatever you bring to it in your mind is how important that is.
Yeah.
But for me, it was monumental. And I knew Chet enough to say hello to him, and he actually knew my name. That made me feel like, you know, when I was playing his guitars, he wouldn't mind so much. You know, I was thinking in my mind, okay, he probably wouldn't mind so much. But it was, you know, I wrote a song kind of based, when I would pull out like one of his Gretches to show people who would come through the archive.
Yeah.
I wrote this little instrumental called Chet's Right Hand Man.
Which is on Boy King of Tokyo.
It's on my Boy King of Tokyo record, and it's the...
A set of flat wounds for Christmas.
That's like coal in your stocking.
That's great, man. That was well gave, as the old boy says.
Well, thank you, sir. I tried to render it with some passion. So,
and you started out as a drummer.
I did, yeah. It's so funny on that Boy King of Tokyo album, which I keep talking about.
It's the latest album, folks, by our guest, Bill Lloyd.
I wanted to do a record where I played everything myself, because I'd always sort of switched around instruments in different bands when I was growing up. Started off as a drummer, and so I played all the drums. I played all the instruments on this most recent one. Although my next one, I'm going to get back to being sensible again and play with some other great musicians.
I just think it's great to do both.
But,
I think that's great.
You know, it was fun to do.
Sort of like your bucket list, you know.
Yeah, it is exactly. That's exactly what it was. It was.
I want to do an album where I write every song, and I've never so far thought I was qualified, and I still sort of don't. It's just that I'm getting so old. If you know, I'll do it.
You need to do it.
But I think like one of your idols, Paul McCartney. You know, he
Yeah.
does that. And looking back through Facebook pictures I've seen you put up, you were always sort of that guy. Like, you were the musician first, whatever instrument you were playing second in your old bands.
Yeah.
Because I see pictures of you when you're young,
Yeah.
playing drums, bass, guitar.
Yeah, yeah. It was just whatever was needed, you know. And bass is fun. I
Yeah,
love
that's how
playing.
I started out.
I love playing bass. It steers the ship, and although I mean I'm around so many awesome bass players, I just
That's the thing. Back
you
to
just,
Nashville.
You know, back to Nashville again. You know, you get around these people, and he goes, well, I'm not going to pick it up around that guy. You know, in fact, playing guitar around here is pretty intimidating.
No joke.
You know, it's this town is so full of great
This
talent.
town will make you a better guitar player or make you quit, though.
Yeah.
You know, and I love playing it so much that I do get intimidated, but it makes me a better player. I'm not gonna quit. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you know, but I know what you mean about the bass
Yeah.
thing. It's like, why bother?
Yeah,
You know?
this town is full of so many great songwriters that you get inspired or quit too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. You either learn, you pick up more as you go, and
I know. I was in a
It's the same
Riders in
thing.
the Round. You've been in lots of Riders in the Round, but I was in one
Yeah.
time with Roger Cook.
Oh, man.
And he shows up late in shorts and like flip flops with a ukulele
Uh-huh.
and plays the radio.
yeah,
I mean, he basically just played the radio, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, and did it well.
I Believe in You by Don Williams. He wrote. You know,
Long
I mean,
Cool Woman by the Hollies.
Yeah.
You've got your troubles, I've got mine by who was it? The Fortunes.
The Fortunes, yeah. I mean-
And I'd like to teach the world to sing.
I mean, the guy's written so many great ones, and he's so charming too.
There you
There's another
go.
one. They just did a thing at the Hall of Fame for him this last
Now,
weekend.
did you moderate that one?
No, I didn't do that. That's called the Poets and Prophets series down there, and a guy named Michael Gray, who was a friend
Sure,
of yours.
he's great.
Michael did a fabulous job on that. So
I know you're we want you to do another song. I hope we
Okay.
have time
We
here.
have time?
I'm looking at my orange couch staff. But
Yeah.
you did just kind of host the Buddy Emmons thing.
yeah,
It was really
then,
great.
yeah. I did, besides the Nashville Cats thing, I also ended up doing a program that Steve Fishel put together for Buddy Emmons. That was awesome.
Probably the
A lot of
greatest
fun.
steel player of all time. The album is called The Big E. Check that out. It's a tribute to Buddy Emmons. But
Yeah.
let's hear another Bill Lloyd song.
Okay, let me see. I did one from. I've already done one from Boy King, and I did one from Set to Pop.
There's the one that I kind of requested too. a little
Okay, I
earlier.
could do that one.
Tell us the backstory on who you wrote this with. And
This
stuff.
is the one called "Listen to the Radio."
Yeah.
This is called a song called "Listen to the Radio." I wrote this with Bill DeMaine.
Who is
Bill's
a really good writer.
He's a great writer, and he's also a journalist. He's a raconteur. He puts out books under the name of Sterling Huck, as well as he does a walking tour of Nashville. He's a great songwriter, and he's part of the group Swan Dive that do kind of Bacharach-ish.
It's got a Brazilian factor, but it's
Yeah.
not Brazilian. It's
But
really
it's more
good.
pop, you know,
Yeah.
and Molly Felder is the
Very
singer
good.
there. Anyway, he and I came up with this a couple years ago, and it's called "Listen to the Radio." And this is what I'd call a modern day country song, even though it's very poppy. It has a lot of countryness to it. On the backside of the backbeat, she slaps her hands on her knees, slightly out of rhythm with the song. And though the tune is unfamiliar, the chorus hook just kills her, and she gets the whole damn car to sing along. Well, she throws back her head, she just lets it go, like she is the star of her own show. But I can't tell her how she never hits one single note. But I like to watch, I like to watch, I like to watch her listen to the radio. While she's lost in her rendition, she's got no inhibitions. I got the queen of country right here in my passenger seat. She's a rock star with no rival. She's an all-American idol. But nothing about her voice is indiscreet. 'Cause she throws back her head, she just lets it go, like she is the star of her own show. But I can't tell her how she never hits one single note. But I like to watch. I like to watch. I like to watch her listen to the radio. She drives me wild, going up and down the dial. But I'm not just her man, I'm her number one fan. When she throws back her head, just lets it go, like she is the star of her own show. But I can't tell her how she never hits one single note. But I like to watch. I like to watch. I like to watch her listen to the radio. Thank you. All right.
Wonderful.
All
Wonderful.
right.
One of those lovely ladies who can't sing.
But you gotta love her.
Well, and it's
You
not
gotta-
exclusive to the feminine animal.
That could be done by a woman about a guy. I like to watch him.
there are a lot of
listen to
guys
that.
who can't sing.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to have some questions from your fans. And do I have a list or how does it work? Cues.
There's cues.
Let's see. Well, okay, I asked the question. See.
All right, I got you. All right, here we go.
Someone wants to know. Actually, Rose wants to know, what guitar is Bill playing?
This is a little Yamaha that I bought right around the corner from my house to take on the road. Something I don't have a history with, and I can gate check with. It's a great little guitar. I'm not saying nothing bad on it, but it isn't. It's not an expensive one. It's a real reasonable one made by Yamaha. It's a really nice one. Plays great. Sounds good. I don't have a history with it, so when I gate check it at an airport, I don't feel like I'm.
You haven't had it long enough to be sentimental about it.
Exactly. That's exactly the point I'm trying to make.
Well, I get it. So you're saying you have the guitar you were gate checking. You kept thinking, this has a lot of memories. I don't want it to get crunched, and it might.
It was too good an old friend to keep gate checking and putting underneath in the bottom of the plane. Is what happened, and then the other guitars I have at home are a little too nice to take on the road.
Exactly.
So
Hear you. Now, a gentleman named Corbin Carruthers would like to know, Bill,
Yes.
what you suggest for him to do as a beginner bass player to really develop basic skills.
I would listen to records and then find the records that you like, and listen to the bass players that you like. I think one of the great bass players. Some of the greatest bass players in pop music and in country music, I guess, too. Everybody kind of looks up to Paul McCartney a lot. They look up to James Jamerson from the Motown sessions. Those are two of my favorites right there.
David Hood,
one
of the most recorded bass players alive.
Norbert Putnam, who played on a lot of Nashville records.
Tommy
too.
Cogble.
Yeah, there's some awesome bass players out there.
Joe Osborne,
who played on many L.A. sessions and New York sessions.
And if you like rock and roll,
Yeah.
you might think about some guys that are overlooked who are an amazing link between the old upright traditions and the more modern rock. And I'm
Joey
thinking
Spampinato.
Joey Spampinato and
Yes.
Bill Wyman.
Yes, both those guys.
And then there's
those
scores of
guys.
other unsung heroes.
Gary Tallent's pretty darn good.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you get into rock bass players, like Tom Peterson has his own thing. It's like, he invented the 12-string bass. And
He plays 12-string
Yeah.
bass all the time with Cheap Trick, but then again, he can play conventional 4-string bass with the best of them.
yeah, he's right.
Because he
he's
came
great.
up doing it.
Yeah, so
And that's weird, too, that he not only plays 12-string bass, but he does it exclusively.
Yeah.
That's all he does with him. And it works great.
yeah.
But no one else does that. That's unique.
It's
too.
a big sound.
Now, Corbin would also like to know, Bill, have you considered playing the sitar or steel drums his favorite instruments?
I have not. It's a quick answer. Sorry, I just don't have that.
Mark Rayland would like to know, what's the most important thing a new songwriter can do to break in? I think you sort of have to define break in.
Well, I think coming to Nashville is a really good start, and just seeing what you're up against, and if you feel like you have the wherewithal to jump into the fray.
Well, there's
know.
breaking into the business, but there's breaking into songwriting.
And just songwriting, because songwriting doesn't have to be a business. It can be something you do in your spare time that you get joy from. It doesn't have to be a. It doesn't have to be a business.
And I'm answering your questions, which I shouldn't be doing. But when somebody asks a question like that, you sort of think it's like the bass playing thing too. What songwriters do you like?
Exactly.
And what do you
exactly
think your voice is? And what do you hear coming out of yourself? I would say, if you write a song, that would be a start, and then record it into your telephone, which is a pretty good way to go these days, or something, and face your fears and listen to it back. That'll inform you a
have
lot.
some friends who can tell you the truth.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to have around. And then if the friends are encouraging, maybe move forward,
I'd been playing music a long time and had written a few songs when I came to Nashville, and I'd get into co-writing things with people. And, you can have a clever idea, but it's got to work and be a part of a whole. And such a light bulb moment was when people hipped me to the fact that you always have to have a song withstand. Not always, because there's some that are mystical that are great, but what is this song about?
Yeah.
You can write yourself into a corner.
Yeah, it can be a lot of clever lines without a point.
Yeah.
And I think when I was younger, I really appreciated songs that were kind of like that didn't have an emotional. They didn't always have an emotional thrust. There would be a lot of connected, clever lines. Elvis Costello, a lot of his early stuff was like that.
Yeah, it's a little glib and facile, but at the highest level of glib and facile.
Exactly.
But, yes.
But then when I remember King of America came out, and all of a sudden he was writing with heart, and it was like a real intense sort of personal kind of stuff on some of those songs.
Sure. Well, Allison, one of his best-known early songs, it has a great ratio of you know what it's about to there's an element of mystery, and you can read your own meaning. I love that in a song.
That's true. Neil Finn writes great songs that are very non-linear. There are a lot of imagery. So.
Okay, someone wanted to know if Bill played on my recording of Sputnik, and the answer is yes.
Yeah, that's a story I don't know.
But Bill and R.S. Field, who was producing me at the time, wrote the song, and they're both on the track.
That's correct. That is correct. Any more Foster and Lloyd shows? Maybe, possibly. I hope so. We just kind of set it back on the shelf again. But I just talked with Radney last week, so yeah, of course. I mean, there's a possibility of that. Well, when are you coming to Mississippi?
Is that a question on there?
That is, yeah.
I don't know. I might get down there in December. I don't want to announce something that hasn't been booked yet, but I'm looking into a solo thing in Jackson in December. So there's a straight answer for a change.
Nice.
Okay. Encore.
Encore. It's time for the encore.
Encore. What we had talked about, and by the way, folks, I didn't insist that Bill play with me, but I'm glad that he is.
I wanted us to sing something together.
I wear glasses because I need them, and I also take them off to see. We were going to do this, and we haven't rehearsed this, folks, so look out. But we were going to do this Carl Perkins song, but before we do, you actually worked with Carl Perkins at some point,
That's
did you not?
correct. Radney and I used to open shows for Carl. And do you know that song, True Love? Your love, your love. True Love. He would get us to come out and do those sort of Everly kind of parts on that. And that was always such a gas. He was such a sweetheart of a guy. He was managed at one point by the same guy who managed the Judds, whose name was Ken Stilts. And Ken called me into his office one time and said, would you like to work with Carl on some in the studio some? So I ended up going down to Jackson and staying at his house. It was
Tennessee.
Jackson, Tennessee. Very, very surreal for me because
at his house. That's killer.
Yeah, I mean, he had, I was in the guest bedroom and he'd knock on the door. Bill Velda's got breakfast on. That kind of thing. It was very exciting for me because I was just such a fan of his. I just looked up to him so much. And obviously a great guitar player, one of the founders of rock and roll. Great singer, great guitar player, songwriter.
Great entertainer,
songwriter.
Covered by the Beatles.
Yeah, the Beatles.
More than once.
Beatles loved him, and
George particularly.
and had just a great sense of great finger picker. You know, his guitar playing was very influential.
I was told that he knew how to do this thing with his hands that made it sound like
Les
an
Paul.
Echoplex was on, but it wasn't.
I've watched him do it, and it's unfathomable. I mean, I was like a dog with his head turned sideways, you know, like the RCA dog, kind of looking at him, going, "How you doing that?" You know, and he had his hands set in a weird way because
Yes.
he had some accident and
Electric fan, I believe.
yeah, an electric fan,
Ouch.
and he was in the back of a car holding it down. Had to like drive an hour to get to the hospital or something, and they had set his finger so it's stuck that way now, or it was stuck that way, and that was, you know. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But do you want to do a Carl Perkins
Yeah,
song?
how are we going to kick it off? Or you kick it off
Well,
and
anyway,
I'll fall in.
two of the tracks I produced on Carl are on a Bear Family album called Carl Rocks, and it's really kind of cool to see. It says, you know, produced by, you know,
How cool is that?
by
man?
Sam Phillips, produced by Jerry Kennedy, produced by, and then my name's at the end, so that's kind of cool.
Jerry Kennedy produced a lot of great old Jerry Lee and Roger Miller stuff.
Oh
didn't
yeah,
he?
he's the man. I love Jerry. All right, shall we do this?
You either kick it off or tell me how we're going to kick it off. I can fall in behind you.
All right. Well, how come you say you will when you won't? Say you do, baby, when you don't. Let me know, honey, how you feel. Tell the truth, now is love real? But honey, don't. Honey, don't. Honey, don't. Honey, don't. Honey, don't. You say you will when you won't. Honey, don't. Take it.
Well, I love you, baby, and you ought to know. I love the way that you wear your clothes. Everything about you is so doggone sweet. Got that sand all over your feet, but honey, don't. Honey, don't. Honey, don't. Honey, don't. Honey, don't. I say you will when you won't. Honey, don't. All rock on, Bill, one time for me.
Honey, don't. Honey, don't. Honey, don't. Honey, don't. Honey, don't. Say you will when you won't. Honey, don't. Okay, the credits.
The top tippers we'd like to thank. And
Top tippers.
Is this Havco? Hayco. It looks like Donovan, but it's spelled different. Donovan. Prayland. P. Rayland. Period would have helped there. Ben Bassaran. Saddle Pal. Mark Rayland. David, Rose, Roger, Strong Dana, Big Front Porch. Those are the top tippers, and I'm sorry I massacred some of your names. Let's switch to the key of A. What about Boppin' the Blues? Or do we have to just play out?
I don't know. I don't know how much time we have left. Keep going. Let's do Boppin' the Blues. All my friends been bopping the blues. Must be going round. All them cats been bopping the blues. Must be going round. Move over, baby. This boy's rhythm down. You should take it.
Well, Grandpa done got rhythm, and he laid his crutches down. I said the old boy done got rhythm and blues, and he laid his crutches down. Grandma, he ain't jiving. they must be rhythm bound. I said, all my friends are bopping the blues, and it must be going round. All my friends are bopping the blues, and it must be going round. I must be rhythm bound. Rhythm and blues, bop bop. Rhythm and blues, bop bop. Rhythm and blues, bop bop. Rhythm and blues. I love you, baby, but I must be heaven bound, rhythm bound. That was impromptu, folks.
Are we done? Are we still on camera? Good night, everybody.
We told you it was informal.
All right.
If I'd known a little bit, if I'd let y'all help me, I could have probably gotten in the Kimbrough plug at the end, but,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
It's till 9. We shot the promo, so we're good.
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Well, that was fun.
So, thank you, thank you. Would you rather us have just